Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
18, dropping Gannon, looking, throws up the middle. Derek Brooks 30, Brooks to the 25, 20. Derek Brooks all the way. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Derek Brooks, the most valuable player in the National Football League. There it is. The dagger's in. We're going to win the Super Bowl.
Who remembers that from the great Gene Deckerhoff? 20 years ago today, there I was in San Diego in Jack Murphy Stadium watching Derek Brooks pick six that sealed the deal in the win over the Raiders to win the Bucs' first Super Bowl. 20 years ago today, you were just what, a wee lad.
3 years old.
Do you remember?
3 years old.
Do you remember watching that?
I remember the first half.
You
the first half. I remember because we were at my uncle's house and the Bucs were killing them at halftime.
Yeah.
And we went home. I don't remember anything after. I might have been asleep after everything after, but I remember some parts of the first half where I was.
Yeah, what do they say? Your first memories are about 3 years old?
Yeah. And that was honestly one of my first ones. I remember.
Yeah. I remember one of my first memories of football was watching the longest game in history. One of my first indelible moments, which was Gary Yepremian beating the Kansas City Chiefs in double overtime, the Miami Dolphins, and that was 1970. I believe. So I was like, what, 6 years old, 7 years old. So, but I don't remember. I don't think I remember anything back that far because the Dolphins sucked back then, at least in sports. But anyway, welcome into the JP Peterson Show. Probably the greatest accomplishment in the history of Tampa Bay sports until the Bucs won the Super Bowl in their own stadium and the Lightning won the Stanley Cup in their own stadium. Those two will certainly go down. But that day really put Tampa Bay on the map as a I won't say a big league sports town at that particular time. I think the Tampa Bay run did that, but that was the first real salvo of, okay, hey, we're Tampa Bay. This was the moment.
Yeah, I remember how cool it was when I was a kid, and I think they still have the sign. I think it's near the airport where it says "Welcome to Tampa Bay, home of the champions." It still says Super Bowl champs, yeah. And then the Lightning won it, and it said home of the Stanley Cup champions. I remember that was so cool as a kid.
We used to have just home of the Arena League champions.
Yeah, because I think that's still underneath it.
Yeah.
I think it's still underneath it. So
yeah, we've added a few titles since then. So that's really good.
It's so fitting too. I didn't even say it yesterday. We were talking about reminiscing on Brady if this was it.
Yeah.
I went back and watched the last episode of Man in the Arena because I was like, I need to be reminded of good times.
Right.
I need to be reminded of good times, and it was fantastic. And now on the 20th anniversary of this, I got to go watch what I think it was like America's Game, those NFL Network documentaries.
Yeah.
I think it has him, as Gruden, Sapp, and John Lynch are in it and speaking on that whole entire season. So I'm probably going to watch that later tonight now.
Yeah, it's I love going back and watching those particular things. In fact, we're going to last week was the 20th anniversary of Rondé's pick six in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And I was there for that as well. And Rondé at that time was doing our Sunday Sports Extra. So I did a 3 or 4 minute interview with him that day. So we'll go back in the archives and play that. I think I have a couple of Super Bowl interviews too that we'll run from my News Channel 8 days. If you guys want to go down memory lane today, Dan Lucas is going to join us at 10:30 today from News Channel 8, and James Petralka, Fox Sports NFL, will join us. He had games with the 49ers and Eagles this year, so we'll get his perspective on these championship games coming up, which I'm getting jacked up for. It's Championship Sunday, and it's going to be really, really good. And I saw a little tape of Mahomes working out yesterday. I'm still not convinced that he is going to be able to play.
But he walked off the podium.
He
was walking without a boot on, everybody.
Yeah, playing an NFL game is a little bit different.
It's a little bit different.
And Cincinnati's going to get after his ass and make him move. And I just don't. It's such a big part of his game. It is such a huge part of his game. And when he can't do that or do it at the level that he needs to do it, that's why Kansas City was a favorite to start. I jumped on that right away. I got the Bengals at 1.5. I think it's now the Bengals are now a 2-point favorite.
Yeah, they're favorites.
Yeah, I mean they should be. They should be favored in this game because they're playing at Burrowhead's Stadium.
Burrowhead Stadium.
Now that's going to piss off the Chiefs a little bit. That's for damn sure. But yeah, I'm excited about watching the games this Sunday coming up, and we'll preview a little bit of that today. We're going to jump in big time on that tomorrow. We got a lot to get to today, and we're going to start with the race. And I just can anyone figure out what the F they are doing? I mean, what 31 million guaranteed? Okay, if you don't know the story, and many of you already do, but just think in your head, which player on this roster are they giving $31 million guaranteed to? Just go ahead and start running through it. Rosarena? No, Margot. Well, he's already got a contract. Who else are we going to give it to?
Who's Lau's locked up.
Yeah.
Yandy's in arbitration.
No, we're not
They're going through arbitration.
No,
do
no.
that.
I'm not going to do that. Any of the other pitchers? Rasmussen,
McClanahan.
Yeah. No. Jeffrey Springs, ladies and gentlemen. Jeffrey Springs, who pitched tremendously well last year when he was moved into the rotation. 8-5, 2.65 ERA, 130 strikeouts, 122 innings. I mean, he pitched supremely well. But he's 30 years old. He was, he doesn't have great pedigree. He was a 30th round pick, number 888, drafted. But he came to the Rays and they remade him.
Yeah.
And in a half a season with being able to use the shift, and you're not able to use the shift anymore, by the way, they're going to go ahead and give him $31 million guaranteed. Now, like many of the contracts, the big money doesn't kick in for a couple of years after Sue sells the team, or they can trade him. So this year, I think it's $4 million. Next year, I think it's $5 million. So it's not a big jump this year and next few, but certainly committed $31 million guaranteed down the road, which, like I said, we'll believe it when he sees it. And they've solidified their rotation. Looks good with Eflin, and I mean, it looks fantastic, but it also looks gigantic opportunity to get rid of one of these starting pitchers. And who is their biggest chip that they can bring back a lot of great prospects and keep winning on the cheap? Glasnow.
They are not trading Tyler Glasnow. Mm-hmm. They are not trading Tyler Glasnow.
Well, they're definitely trading him. It's when are they trading
I don't know about that.
They're most certainly trading him before they pay him $25 million a year.
Well, we'll see. I mean, let's be honest though.
Wager?
Regardless, no, I'm not going to wager. I'm not going to wager. Okay, I'm not a betting man on these things. There's always with the Rays. You're never certain on anything with the Rays.
Oh,
I'm just merely pointing out.
More certain in this world.
I'm just pointing out
taxes. Stu Sternberg ain't paying nobody $25 million a year.
Well, I'm just going to point it out, regardless of how you feel about Stu and if he's actually going to pay these guys $25 million a year. I still think it's a good sign that we've been asking the Rays to spend money and commit to players long term, and they have Tyler Glasnow. You just mentioned $25 million. They're set to pay him right
next year.
Jeffrey Springs, $31 million guaranteed. It can go up to $65 million, I believe, with incentives, which is crazy. Zach Eflin became the largest signing in free agent history, right?
Yeah, for the Rays.
For the Rays,
$41 million.
For the Rays, yes.
At $41 million, the largest ever.
They committed a long-term
1 year of what?
They committed a long-term contract to Wander Franco, which at the end of it would pay him around $20 to $25 million.
And
so my point
escalate to real money until 2 more years.
My point is, it's like regardless of how we feel that maybe they won't hang on to these guys when they get there, that's fair because of the way the organization has been run. I'm just saying I think it's a good sign that they're at least putting the dollars on the paper and saying, hey, we're going to at least commit to putting it out there that we're going to pay you this, and at least having it there, because I don't know if they know right now they're going to trade these guys when they get there. I'm sure they have every intention to probably keep them when they sign to these contracts. I think
they have every intention to trade them. The weird thing would be if they kept them. Well, look at the history of the team.
I just feel like these players are a little different, though. The ones that we're signing to long terms, like Wander Franco, we're talking about a generational type talent potentially. Tyler Glasnow, when healthy, I mean, I dare you to name me 7 better pitchers in Major League Baseball.
No argument there.
I just feel like they've jettisoned maybe some guys that they've moved on from that were unpopular. And as I've said, I feel like they're going to hitch their wagon to Wander Franco and then those 2 guys at the top of the rotation, Glasnow and McClanahan. And you mentioned
what most organizations would do.
Yes, and you mentioned, by the way, why are they giving money to Jeffrey Springs and not somebody like Shane McClanahan or Drew Rasmussen? Well, because the way baseball's set up, those guys.
Isn't McClanahan a Boris?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but because of the way baseball's set up, those guys aren't free agents until 2027.
Right.
They've got all those years of arbitration. So it's honestly foolish for the Rays to just go out there and just say, yeah, we're going to give you $150 million right now.
Super smart for them to buy out the first few years of their free agency. And the only reason they would do that is giving them more money right now when they're making no money. But and that's the trade out. It's like, we'll give you 10, 15 million the next couple of years. And while you would normally get, 7 or 8 in arbitration, and we'll buy out those first years of free agency. That's basically what they did with, and that's smart. But, I don't think McClanahan certainly doesn't want to do that. And Rasmussen probably doesn't want to do it either, because once they get to free agency, you're looking at, well, good, in 2-3 years, good God. If McClanahan keeps going the way he is as an all-star starter, he could be making $50 million a year. And that's no joke. And that's, when you ain't gonna, and the Rays want to buy him out for 20-25 million. That's super. If you can get him to do that, you would do that. But he's not dumb enough to do that.
No, I don't think so. No. But I still think I'm good. It's good for Jeffrey Springs. I mean, I love good stories. And Trisha Whitaker,
fantastic.
Trisha Whitaker. I don't know if you saw her tweet of all the things he's had to overcome.
Yeah,
30th round draft pick.
Yeah,
signed for $1,000.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
$1,000. DFA'd in 2019. Traded to Boston. Option to and from alternate site. He tore his ACL in 2021, working out of the pen for the Rays. He moves to the starting rotation and gradually increases his workload. And the numbers, they were fantastic last year.
Yeah.
And since he's been acquired from the Rays, 76 games, 14-6 with a 2.7 ERA.
That's incredible.
Incredible. And how about last year?
What the hell did they do to him?
I mean, what do the Rays do with all their pitchers? How about last year? Last year he had a 2.46 ERA. The only guys that trailed in the AL were, you might have heard of some of these guys, Justin Verlander, Dylan Cease, Alek Manoah, Shohei Ohtani, and Nestor Cortez. And then it goes Jeffrey Springs. So maybe it's a little bit of a risk because we only got that 1 year to go off of.
Short sample size.
But seriously,
really short
they
sample
believe
size.
it. They believe that there's more there.
Good. It is a positive, and it's a great story for him. But I always like to keep it in perspective because, I know some of the crazy Rays fans go, oh, we put $31 million to this guy. I'm like, okay, that's great. Well, right now he's making $4 million a year for a starting pitcher. That's a bargain. That's a bargain, especially with those numbers. It's the greatest, maybe the greatest bargain. If he can replicate even close to those numbers, it's a tremendous bargain. So don't use this as look, they're spending money now. No, they're not. They're still at $70 million payroll. It's ridiculous.
Well, they're committing it to the future, though.
Yeah, of course, when they won't be paying it.
We don't know that.
But that's great. But again, we'll see how it works out long term.
I tell you what, though, it tells you is the theme of this season is clearly run prevention.
Ooh,
and
so exciting! I cannot wait to see how they work this new shift. There's going to be infielders in motion.
I thought we can't do the shift at all anymore.
You can't shift.
We're out of the shift, right?
This shift is no longer. But you can do. Now we're going to see shortstops in motion. Running the third baseman and the shortstop running towards the middle of the field in the windup of the pitch.
They'll be the team to figure it out.
Oh, they will be.
They'll be the team to figure it out.
And I can see them using the left fielder and pulling him over into short field. I could see them doing that, short right field or vice versa, depending on pull. You leave an entire outfield open. I could see them doing that absolutely because you're messing with the hitter's mind. So I think that's what I think you see a lot of teams do that. To be honest with you. And it's, and the numbers will tell you that it's going to work out for them. So I think that was probably a whiff for the rules committee. They should have said you can only have 2 outfielders on one side of second base.
Yeah. But on the note of run prevention, we know that even if that's the goal or not, which it is every year for the Rays, we know that's what they're going to do.
Right.
I mean,
because that's the cheap
way to go.
Go back?
Not necessarily the cheap way to go.
Defense is way cheaper than offense.
They excel at developing pitchers and bring them into
and
the
system. They have a home field that is very pitcher friendly. Yeah. It's a smart way to go. Absolutely. You're playing to your strengths.
And I go back to the playoff series, not to beat a dead horse there because I know we've done it.
Yeah.
But how many runs did you give up in 24 innings?
Yeah, that's the other. We always talk about the 1 run you scored, but they only gave up 3.
3.
Right? They only gave up 3. Yeah. That's
and
pretty
you'd expect
good.
You expect to win a series when you give up that in 2 games.
And Cleveland was a juggernaut.
And that's kind of where, I think is another takeaway from this. It seems like, and it doesn't even seem like, because I had the quote right here from Eric Neander.
Yeah,
after they scored 1 run in 24 innings.
Yeah.
And also scored 200 runs less.
Yeah.
Than they did the year prior. And again, I understand injuries. It seemed like everybody had an IL stint. Right. I understand. To sit here and to suggest that we're good as is and we'll just plan for better from our group next year would be unwise. Unwise is what Eric Neander said after the playoff defeat.
And what are they doing?
They are rolling with the same crew.
Isn't that
and
unwise?
The philosophy of last year.
It's unwise.
The philosophy of last year when they
give you some attribution there. Where'd you get that?
Oh, Mark Topkin.
There you go.
My bad.
We always try to do attribution here.
And so
we do it.
The philosophy last year, was it not, okay, we're going to trade Austin Meadows because we don't want to block Josh Lowe.
Right.
Josh Lowe, overwhelmed, clearly, did not pan out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now they're going at it again this year. Okay, let's see if we can get something from Josh Lowe.
First you don't succeed,
try again.
Same shit again.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get something from Jonathan Aranda, right?
Which I think we can.
Who might have a path to playing before Josh Lowe because first base is still wide open.
Wide open.
It sounds like, according to Topkin, that they might do something where obviously Brandon Lau's been mentioned as a first base option. Maybe Aranda could get in on that. Paredes, we saw play a little first base last year. Yandy can do it, even though I don't think that they ideally want him there.
Right.
So it sounds like that's going to be one of the things because they missed out on every first base target they won. I mean, there's still off season to go. And last year they made moves. Harold Ramirez and Isaac Paredes came when they were already in camp. So something could still happen, but it just sounds like the prices right now are just insane.
Yeah. And I think that's and you just don't do something to do something.
Correct.
You know, there were like we talked about before, Corey Dickerson, I think, signed for like $2 million.
2.25 mil.
Yeah, which is nothing, really nothing. But, you know, and you could have gotten that just as a depth player, you know, have a guy, but he's so one-dimensional. You know,
well, what's the one dimension, though?
Like, he hits for power.
Not really anymore. Go look at the numbers lately. It's been a long time since Corey Dickerson. I was looking at his numbers this morning.
Power relative to what the Rays have, which is no
really
power on the left side.
Not really, though.
Well, now, what were his numbers the last couple of years?
I looked it up.
I thought I remember him having some decent seasons.
Well, we're kind of removed from that a little bit. Mind you, he's also going to be 34 years old.
Yeah.
281 at bats last year, 6 home runs.
So platoon, yeah.
The year prior, 336 at bats, 6 home runs. 2019, 279 at bats, 12 home runs. So the power is
completely
going
mistaken on that.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I looked at that this morning because I heard Topkin mention his name, and I was like, let's go look at Corey Dickerson real quick. But there is not much power there anymore, and he's older.
No.
And he's giving you nothing in the field, and the Rays don't.
That's stupid then.
Then the Rays are not on that. Yeah.
But you were mentioning, another guy that was on their list was Brandon Belt, who signed for what, $9 million?
$9 million in division to Toronto.
Yeah, I think here, and here's the other part about it. We've talked about so much of this, and Jason Romano, who works with XL Management and represents a lot of these big time players, and Kyle Tucker has told us this as well, that playing in the Trop is like not an option. He said that every time he has to play out there, he's got ice bags on his knees for 15 minutes after the game. So he's not coming here, and nobody wants to play outfield here. No hitters want to come here, so you're going to have to get them through trade.
Yeah.
What trade chips do we have? We have pitching. We got pitching out the ass. We got starting pitching.
That's what I just told you.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, your rotation is all under contract until 2026, 2027. These 5 guys.
I will predict they're going to trade a starting pitcher.
Well, the one I was going to mention
is they're going to get some pieces.
Well, I was going to say the one that's in the minors, who was a top 20 prospect, if I'm not mistaken, can probably get you a big haul. And I know the Rays are going to be hesitant to move him, but because of the fact that you've locked up your entire rotation already, Shane Baz, I know, is not a factor this year, but he's still, you think very highly of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know the Rays, it would be really uncomfortable for them to do it, but this is a team that knows how to find guys down the line. Man. Todd Bradley has got to be in trade discussions.
Absolutely.
I'm at that point now.
Absolutely.
If you want to maximize this roster, because I guarantee
get a good young pitcher back. And then get some left-handed power.
Get the left-handed power, because I guarantee if you float that guy out there, they're definitely going to be interested.
Well, here's the thing, and Neander's smart in this. Don't do a deal just to do a deal. Wait a little bit and wait till you get to spring training. You have a surplus of pitching, which nobody has.
Yeah.
So that's where your chip is. And when somebody loses a starting pitcher in spring training, one of these big-time contenders, they're going to overpay for a a starting
and they're
pitcher.
always going to call the Rays.
Then they're always going to call the Rays. They're going to overpay for a starting pitcher. So then you can go out and get some position players because you're not going to sign any of them in free agency. So I get it. And I fully expect them to do that. Now, what they won't do is get a bona fide hitter in the trade. They won't take on any salary. At least I don't think they will. It'll be a younger player who they have control over, but that's
that's not what that's not what they're telling you that they want. They want a veteran.
I would love to see them go get a veteran, and if his price is in the $15 to $20 million range, pay it. But they won't do it. They won't do it.
Yeah, I mean,
they won't do it. Having a payroll at $70 million is a joke.
That remains to be seen.
It's a joke. But you got to be. I mean, in this day and age, all the money these teams are making, and the Rays are making a shit ton of money. All the money that Major League Baseball gives out in the general fund, that number is not generally known. The last time we heard about it was about 50 million 10 years ago, and baseball has doubled their revenue since then. So that number may be close to $75-80 million. Plus the Rays get revenue sharing. Plus they've already collected $375 million up front on their regional television deal. I mean, so they are, which, by the way, was a great move by Stu Sternberg because those regional television deals now are awful. I mean, Fox Sports, which is now Bally Sports, that bought them.
I heard something about them going filing for bankruptcy.
Yeah, Bally's is filing for bankruptcy because of the purchase of those deals. So yeah, it's and they got good money for it. So that's good. But are they using that money to better their team? No, they're not. There's that $500 million is sitting in Stu Sternberg's bank account doing nothing but gaining interest. Which I want to transfer a little bit to the off the field stuff too, because there's been some writings recently about the stadium projects in St. Petersburg, and the Times did an article on Brian Ault, who I think is a great guy. I've known Brian for a long time, and I think he's a super human being. I don't think he's a fan of me anymore because I've asked him some tough questions in some places. And obviously I've disagreed with the Sister City plan. I disagreed with them dumping the Ybor plan in 2018. And now he's hard selling this Tropicana Field redevelopment with a stadium there. I guess what was in the paper this week was that the Rays and Hines, their development company, and some of their partners are going to put in $1.8 billion for this development. And the stadium is going to cost $1 billion. How much is towards the stadium? We don't know. What the total price is, we don't know for the entire development. How much is the public going to have to put in? How much are the Rays putting in? How much of that $1.8 billion is going towards real estate that they own or will own? Those are all the questions that need to be found out. What's the financing of this deal? And now Brian Ault is now going out there and selling this Tropicana Field vision to all of their partners, getting people to sign on to their plan, the Hines development plan. I mean, first and foremost, if you're the city of St. Petersburg, give me one reason why you would trust the Rays in this development. Exactly. There's no reason. As much as he has bargained in bad faith for so long, and what he's allegedly done with his partners in the lawsuit, how is it fiscally responsible for a government entity to do business with this franchise in this particular owner? I mean, if there was anybody else, if Hines was being sued the way Stu Sternberger is being sued with what's alleged in there, there's no way that the city of St. Petersburg would do business with Hines. No way. And if they did, that would be fiduciary disaster. And you have to have good partners, and you have, especially in deals like this. Where has Stu Sternberg shown himself to be a good and faithful partner to the city of St. Petersburg or Tampa or Hillsborough and any of the people that he is supposedly negotiated with? Everybody that's done it, from Rick Kreisman to Ken Hagan to Jane Castor to everybody, will universally say, no, this has not been a good situation. We have been lied to. Maybe Jane Castor won't, but we've been lied to. They have not negotiated good faith. They've said a lot of things and done different things. And then go look at what's in the lawsuit. How could you possibly being a responsible politician to your constituency want to do business with this franchise? This is the same franchise that when Mayor Kreisman put out the plan that he was going to go with, said, sure. And of course the Rays have veto power over these plans. They have to approve it all by their lease. They said, yeah, sure, we'll go along with that. Give me 60% of the land and 100% of the development rights. No. You're only entitled to 50% of the entire deal. That's what's in the lease. We're not going to give you 100% and 60% of the land. No, we're not doing that. So he's not negotiated in good faith and used that veto power to hold up all of this development and at the same time hold up all the development in Tampa as well. So how you would want to deal with somebody in that situation, I have no idea. But that's what evidently they're planning on doing. But I still don't think this is going forward. And to build $1 billion stadium in a failed location in a small city with 600,000 people within a 30-minute drive is complete ridiculousness. But this appears to be where Brian Auld is trying to take this. And, again, love Brian Auld, but he's the same person that stood at a podium in 2018 in Ybor City and said, this is the spot we want. This is where we've always wanted to be. This makes more sense than anything. This plan is great. We love the stadium site. It's generational. Oh, you'll have to pay half? Oh, forget about it. We're not interested. We thought you guys were paying for the whole thing. And now none of that was true. Then we went to the sister city plan, and he told us, you know what? This isn't a major league market. You guys can't sustain a major league team in this market. How many times did he say that? I heard him say it a gazillion times. And then when the sister city plan blew up, suddenly, oh, this is a major league market. Okay. All right. So now it is a major league market, and St. Petersburg is where it should be. Did you say Tampa was where it should be? And then we're not a major league city, but now we should believe you when you say St. Pete is the place where it needs to be. I mean, again, how do you deal with someone and an organization that keeps flip-flopping more than Charlie Crist? I don't get it. And I really don't understand how Major League Baseball can continue to allow this ownership charade to go on. As little as they spend, as much money as he's taken out of the team, the lack of, and the other owners are all about, let's get a stadium done in Tampa. Let's get a stadium done in Tampa. Well, there's deals to be done, but you just have to put up half the money. And you have the money to do it if you have extracted from this marketplace, but you don't want to commit to it. I guess if you, just as a businessman, you're able to do that, but it doesn't mean we're not going to call you out on it. And it doesn't mean that we're going to sit here like a lot of other people in the media and just, clap. Oh, yes, let's get this done in St. Petersburg. This is a great idea. No, it's not. It's a failed location. It's bad money. It's putting bad money after bad money. It's not good for the taxpayers who would never approve it in 1,000 years. By the way, can somebody do a poll of likely voters in St. Petersburg and say, well, are you willing to commit $1 billion to Stu Sternberg for a new stadium in this Tropicana? Let's do a poll. And I guess we could do one on Twitter, right? Maybe we could do a poll on that. I would like to see what St. Petersburg voters would say to that. I would guess it would be overwhelmingly, no, thank you. Build a convention center that's going to put a lot more money in our constituents' pockets and way better for business. And it's better for the entire region to put the baseball stadium in the middle of the region. So, again, this is when we talk about things on the field, and they've done a tremendous job on a shoestring budget. Imagine what Eric Neander and this group could do with a credible major league payroll of $125 million. It would be unbelievable, and I think we would have won a World Series by now. I firmly believe that. But that's never been the goal of this organization. The goal of this organization is to A, make as much money as humanly possible, B, play meaningful games in September to allow us to make as much money as humanly possible. And they've been successful in that, meaningful games in September, but the rest of it has not been what it could be and should be, in my opinion. So let's get to a couple of the comments here. Yeah, this is Thomas is spot on with this. Wait until they reread all the EPA supersite documents from the 80s on the toxic gas district, which is leaking methane right now. Yeah, I don't know this whole redevelopment, how they're going to tear up that parking lot and start doing environmental studies and go, oh, we got a lot of cleanup work here to do, folks. No. Any other comments that you've seen on here that we should throw up there?
Yeah, I'll throw mine here because I'm all about on the field here.
Yes,
so I'll go to Joe F. He says this rotation is stacked with Tyler, Shane, Eflin, Springs, and Drew, plus Baz is more than likely out all of the season. Who knew our left-handed signing would be Springs and not a left-handed bat? LOL.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're not surprised by that. that the left-handed signing is not a bat.
Well, I'm surprised that they gave Jeffrey Springs that much money now. They didn't need to do it now. They could have waited in at least half a season to see if it was if that's real progress. I mean, especially got to come back after an offseason and replicate it.
I will say this though, for all the faults that the Rays may have at some areas, if they believe that a pitcher is him, just to use the lingo there, is him, why am I to doubt them? Given their track record with pitching.
No, you shouldn't.
I really shouldn't, because I remember when they made that trade, by the way, with Boston, they gave up that catcher, Ronaldo Hernandez, who I kept seeing was like in like the Rays like top 10 prospects. And I was like, oh, the Rays need a catcher for the future. Why are you trading him for some guy named Jeffrey Springs?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? I don't know where Ronaldo Hernandez is now, but I know where Jeffrey Springs is. And I know how much money he's making. So I don't know. I'm not going to doubt them on that one.
All right, Thomas Casper says all the big St. Pete money is supposed to be from federal reconnecting communities bill. Good luck with that. I don't know what that means, but I'm guessing it's about the gas plant district there. And I think most of that money they're talking about is tourism tax, which again would go, I think, a lot further with a convention center than a failed location for a baseball stadium. JP, why would Manfred agree to this crazy idea of building a stadium in a place no one will go? Why? He's not. And he literally came out and said it needs to be properly located, which means it's not properly located now. So, I actually think that words mean something when he says that. And he says Tampa all the time. That's why I still think this is all just a ruse to get the people of Hillsborough County to step up with a better plan and more money for them. He's pitting one city against the next. It's an age-old
anybody in
thing.
And again, I've reached so much with the point where like it's hard to follow now. It's getting a little bit confusing for my sense. Is there anybody in Tampa Bay stepping up?
Yes. They're still talking about
because I see
Daryl Shaw has bought property.
Yeah, I hear all that all the time. But I'm like, how serious are we there?
They put an artist rendering out just like they've done for downtown St. Petersburg. Like this is where the stadium's going to go in the Ybor Marina. And I told you the reason that Shaw put out the other one that showed condos and everything else out there and no baseball stadium was, to tell Stu Sternberg, hey, you want this waterfront piece of property? Get the deal done now, to put some urgency on him that all this great property in Ybor City, and especially this one on the water, which is going to bring you the most fans and bring you the most money, is going to go unless you get off the pot and let's go. So that's why I believe that's why he did that. And they've got a couple other plots of land, including the original 2018 location that they can use, but they're going to go quickly. And Daryl Shaw does not want to wait. He wants some commitment from the Rays.
Well, I'll let everybody go back and forth and jockeying for position. Just wake me up when there's shovels in the ground. I've reached my point with that.
People want information. I'm trying to give them as much information as they can, as we have. And,
I know.
And what
I know. And I think it's all useful. I just would love to just, what would you say? We have to have by the end of next year, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I just want to fast forward there and see what happens.
Me too. All right, let's take a break. When we come up, Dan Lucas is going to join us from News Channel 8, and we'll reminisce a little bit about the Super Bowl in 2002, and we'll talk about this Buccaneers team, the Brady factor. Is he coming back? My guess is no. We'll get Dan Lucas's thought on that and how the Bucs will rebuild. And, of course, we got a huge Lightning game tonight we're going to talk about. The Bruins are in town. This is going to be a good one. So we'll get to all that when we come back. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group and Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Back in 3. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's Jeeves lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you.
Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 10.
Stone jewelry line, ideal for everyday wear. Each piece is designed to enhance your look by featuring eye-catching modern geometrical shapes. Really unique stuff. Got to check it out. And of course, Julie and Steve Weintraub, great benefactors here in the local community. So let's keep it local. And you can get 0% financing for up to 5 years. Get a big ring for a little price. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road. Always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Jeeves Law Group. If your car has been totaled in an accident, you didn't get what you think you deserve, give them a call. You may have a case, and it's a free call. Just contact them at thejeeveslawgroup.com. Please tell them JP sent you, great sponsors of the program. All right, let's bring in our good friend, Dan Lucas, WFLA Dan, News Channel 8, Sports Director. What's up, my friend? How are you?
JP, how are you today? Big game at the Amalie tonight. I'm looking forward to see how the Lightning stack up.
Yes, here come the big bad Boston Bruins. I think they've been looking forward to this one for a while. I think Boston's already got them twice this year, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, it hasn't really been very competitive, in my opinion. Which is when you look at the standings, is how the Bruins are rolling this year. They are something to watch, and they're going to wind up chasing some marks and milestones themselves by the time it's all over. But I think the Lightning need to show, as they've shown progress. I would like to see them, even if they don't win this game tonight, I want to see them match up a little bit and just not make it feel like Boston's running away with. I think they win the President's Trophy, but I don't want them to feel like they're just going to waltz into the postseason and make this easy.
No doubt. And I guarantee you Cooper's going to challenge these guys to step up and show their championship medal, because let's just be honest, this is a brutally long season. And I think it's made even longer when you've been to 3 conference finals in a row and won 2 Stanley Cups, because obviously you've played almost a full season more than everybody else over the past 3 years with all these playoff games, which are way more high intensity But these are the games that are important to you. And I really don't know how these guys consistently get up for regular season games when you've played these playoff games. And tonight is one of those nights where your intensity level and your focus and everything else is going to be at a fevered pitch. It's going to be a playoff atmosphere. So let's see how this goes down. And I think that's going to be very telling for both teams. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. And one thing we've learned over this run that the Lightning are in, over the really almost decade, is like John Cooper says, you play games during the regular season, you pop in, you pop out, you play the game. Sometimes it's a big night, sometimes it's feels like everybody's going through the motions. But when you get into a postseason series, it takes on a different life, and that's when like you're saying, everything gets a little tighter, everything's a little more defensive, less shenanigans and more desperation. But this feels like a game that enters that realm just in a one night, a one-off. I think it's important for the Lightning to show something tonight. It looks like it's inevitable. It's going to be Lightning Maple Leafs in the first round.
Yeah.
Unless one of those two teams falls apart and Florida gets hot. But you have to look at it as the Lightning positioning themselves to get home ice at least in that first round. And then you got to look forward to a possible series against Boston after that. So it's going to be another tough road. And like you said, I'll give you the example. When you're playing that many games, that's wear and tear on your goaltender.
Yep.
Guys have surgery later than normal. Anthony Cirelli is a perfect example of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes time to get everybody back into the swing of things. But this is always when the NHL season begins to ramp up. It's right at the end of the NFL playoffs, and everybody says, all right, now what's going on in hockey? And so teams come up and rise up. Colorado is one of them right now, rising up.
Yep.
Not even in the playoff mix right now, I don't think, but they're closing in on Seattle, I believe, out there in their division. And so it's going to be a race to the finish here.
Yeah.
And cap constraints being what they are, do you feel like this team needs to make some sort of move, whether it's in the bottom six or another defenseman, you think, to maybe better position themselves? Because like you said, I mean, regardless of what happens in the regular season, they can already almost start preparing for Toronto at this point.
Yeah, I do. They definitely need to see what's possible, but I don't know how much farther Julien Brisebois can go on this. He's been playing this numbers game now for about 4 years of trying to make it work, and the guy's a genius. But even Julien has his limits.
Right.
And his, last year, when they were on the road last year, it was more than one occasion they had to skate less one player because of the cap.
Yeah.
During regular season games, because you couldn't even field a team. They're not the only team that's been in that spot, but that is numbers desperation. That is literally getting down to whatever money's left in your wallet.
They
to
got
put
about
a team on the ice.
700.
Yeah, exactly.
They got about $719,000 in cap room, and the minimum salary is $750,000. So if they're going to have to trade somebody to get somebody back. And I could see a Cal Foot for Luke Shen deal going down, because I think they'd like to get Luke Shen back. But that might work there in terms of salaries, but it's going to have to be a player for player. They're going to have to obviously, be able to have to jettison some cap if they add anybody. So I think that might be something that we would see. I don't think it's going to be anything major because they just don't have the cap room to do it.
No, and you look at the two-way deals they have. They have guys that have come up, not as frequently this year as past from Syracuse, but I see those as stopgaps. Nobody really sticking around here, to make an impact long term. But the acquisitions last time was a Hagel, Nick Paul. Nick Paul caught on quickly. Hagel took more time, and now we're really enjoying what Hagel brings.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, Julian's made some really savvy moves, and the moves to help boost this team. It just takes a lot when you get to the postseason. A lot of things have to work, luck with injuries, and I think that they're in a position where they can go with what they have. I just don't know how sustainable it is to get to a Stanley Cup final, especially if there's an injury or two that creeps into the picture.
Yeah, and one last thing I'll say about Boston, and I think we'll see Linus Ullmark tonight in goal against Vassie. And as good as Boston is, and I've, Chief has talked about this on the show, and Brian Engblom on our last call show that I do for the Lightning. This is the regular season, and Ullmark is playing out of his mind. 25-2, 1.8 goals against. I just looked up his playoff numbers, okay, because he's been in Buffalo. He's got two games started in the playoffs, and that was last year with Boston, and he went 0-2 with a 4.16 goals against. Okay, an 860 save percentage. So as good as Boston is in that right now, and I know they got a new coach and a new system, and Ullmark looks way better. The playoffs are a different animal, and the guy that we got is pretty good in the playoffs, and this guy is untested in the playoffs. That's all I'm saying. Boston's got a great team, but this is about winning cups. And when you start looking around at the goaltenders that'll be involved, I think you're going to say to yourself, advantage Tampa Bay. So,
yeah, it would be I think it would be very exciting to see a Lightning Bruins series in the postseason, just to see that scenario you're talking about, but also how the dynamics change, where the Bruins have been really flying around and scoring goals, and all of a sudden see this thing turn into a sludge and grudge match, and see who's going to win a 3-2 hockey game. I think that would be a tremendous series every single night between those two teams.
All right, Dan Lucas from News Channel 8 joining us. We're legally obligated to talk about Tom Brady on every hit that you do. So here we go. And there's news out that Todd Bowles is interviewing offensive coordinators, and when he does so, he's asking them for a Brady plan. What is your plan if Tom Brady comes back to this offense? What are you going to do? Because obviously that's much different than if it's a Kyle Trask plan or a quarterback to be named plan. So my question to you is, where are you on Brady coming back right now? What signs are you seeing one way or another to support your position? The floor is yours.
Well, other than the top secret video of Tom Brady searching for schools, which is tremendous video, by the way. If you're going to do that with your phone, if you're going to get in the hallway and do that, just be a total sleaze, just hold the phone up straight so we all get a good shot. Don't act, I'm not shooting. I'm not shooting. But I'm leaning now towards Tom Brady not returning, and I don't know if he's going to play football.
Yeah,
I just don't know what's out there anymore for me. The Raiders scenarios, I've done a lot of reading about it. They're still the leaders, as far as where he would be. But I just get the feeling that I don't know if it's going to happen, especially here. And so I don't know the scenario you're talking about in the interviews. What's your Tom Brady plan? I don't think the Bucs know something. I think it's diligence. And I think that they're trying their best to get Tom Brady back. But there are two completely different directions. There's the Tom Brady direction, and then there's there's pretty much a rebuild direction.
Yes.
After that.
Tear it down, rebuild.
Well, you got to get a guy who can wear two hats. I mean, the coordinator is coming before the Brady decision, most likely.
Right.
And get a guy in. If you're going to go with an up-and-comer like a Keenan McCardell, who's, as far as I know, never been tested as a play caller.
Nope.
That is not the sexiest thing to dangle in front of Tom Brady.
Nope.
To try and bring him back here. That's a youth movement and coaching, and saying we're going to go this direction and hope this guy works out. And then you talk about a Clint Kubiak who's worked with a guy last year, Russell Wilson.
How'd that work?
Totally mixed results. I don't know if that excites Tom Brady either.
No, I mean he's got an interesting pedigree with the Shanahan's, right? Shanahan's offense, but Tom Brady can't run that offense.
No, that's not his thing, because Wilson's able to get out of the pocket and do things with his feet.
Right.
And the other thing with Kubiak, his dad, very good coach, obviously. A well-known offensive coordinator, in addition to being a head coach. Kubiak steps in his role in Minnesota. Vikings offense just garbage. They went from top 5 to mid-pack. Did nothing. Zimmer and his whole staff is gone after this. and he pops up in Denver. I know he was handed the play calling duties last year, and they had a little bit of success
at the end,
but nothing that was earth shattering, and gave you signs that this is going to be the big break this guy needs. But I don't know what. I'm leaning towards Brady not coming back, and hate it for Bucs fans. But I think in the cap crunch, we've already discussed how many awkward exits there might be here coming up.
Yeah.
And now you're going to try and fit Brady into that mix. Even with his dead cap, you're still trying to fit him in, even if he never plays it down for the Bucs again. So there's a lot of tough stuff coming up here for Jason Light for sure. And I think that's due diligence, asking the question about a Tom Brady offense.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
And if he chooses not to come back, right, and you go into the rebuild, how far do you think you would, if you had the keys to this, and I know you'd love to be getting paid to be making these decisions, I think, but if you had the keys to this, do you go all the way? And what I mean by that is, okay, are we putting Mike Evans on the table? Are we putting Shaq Barrett on the table? Some of these other pricier guys who maybe are out of their primes, or at least they're at the end of it, right? Are you going that far in? And I know these are tough decisions. Like, everybody wants to see Mike Evans. I'd love to see Mike Evans stay a Buck forever, right? But are those decisions that you would make if you were going into a rebuild right away?
Well, if you're going to go into a complete rebuild, then every single name is on the table.
Absolutely.
And we've been through that before. And, everybody remembers the day that Derek Brooks and Joey Galloway and all those guys were like, "Oh, it was just an absolute stunner." That was a flipping a switch into a rebuild. I don't know if it's going to happen here because you have so many pieces that are still. This team's competitive in a division that's not very good. I can get into the postseason still. It just depends on the quarterback play and the play of the offense overall, improving from what it was last year, and that's why they made the move. So I see Evans sticking around. I see Evans playing his entire career here. But I don't see, I can see him being frustrated playing here, especially if he's stuck in a rebuild and all of a sudden her productivity goes down because of that alone. But forget age. But there's too many good pieces. They've done a good job assembling this team through the draft and getting guys who are under their control contractually. It's just the top end salaries now that have come up to bite them.
Right.
And that's the tough part for me. I know I said it last week, Levante David, for me. I'm very curious to see where this goes.
Yeah.
There's just a bunch of names that it's going to hurt. But I don't think the Bucs are ready to go in a complete rebuild. That's why this coordinator decision is so important. They're on the brink. They can stay competitive, or they can just go completely the other way. And no one wants to see that.
I don't know, man. I think I look at how you rebuild in this league, and it's so hard to stay at the top, obviously, but the middle is the worst place, right? Drafted 19th, it's hard to rebuild. You can't get those key cornerstone pieces, and I just think that a guy like Mike Evans has had a tremendous career here. I don't think he wants to go through a rebuild, and I think this I don't want the Bucs to stay in the middle. I don't want them to hold on to all these pieces that might, win them another NFC South at 8-9, and get into the playoffs and get smoked, because you're delaying the inevitable. And especially if Brady doesn't come back, no, man, I would sell off every single asset that I have that's a tradable asset, except for, I would say, Tristan Wirfs. My litmus test is, if you can help me 2, 3, and most likely 3 and 4 years down the road, I want to keep you. If it's not about next year. It's not even about 2 years away. It's 3 to 4 years. Are you going to be a core piece of our puzzle? And I would put, Chris Godwin in there, Tristan Wirfs, Antoine Winfield. I don't even know.
Vita Vea.
Of course, Vita Vea.
Sure.
I don't know if and Carlton Davis has already signed into that. I don't know if there's anybody else. Devin White, I'm trading. I'm trading Mike Evans. I'm trading if I can get something. Ryan Jensen is a glue piece, but I don't know if he wants to come back. If this is going to be a total rebuild, if I can get things for these guys and unload contracts, I'm doing everything. I'm tearing it down to the bare bones and getting younger, cheaper, faster, and starting to work on 24, where I might be able to find a franchise quarterback in the draft, or at least be in a salary cap position and start to build my core where I can bring in a free agent and that I know, like a Brad Johnson. I won't say like Brady because that's a once in a lifetime thing, but like a Brad Johnson, like a Jeff Garcia. Go get somebody can play in this league and can take you somewhere. To me, it's just one of two things. The middle area, I don't want to be there. It just feels like I'm treading water.
Yeah, I don't completely disagree with that. But if you're going to go that route, you got to do what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's got to be, you got to shed it off and go. I do. What's intriguing to me is the off-season quarterback talk of the old veterans and can you bring a guy in that can keep this thing going another season or two? I know you're getting to the inevitable you mentioned, but what if they could pull off a deal to bring another veteran in here and just keep it
rolling,
sustainable?
I
just think it would be. I'm very intrigued by it. I've been tossing the name Aaron Rodgers out in the newsroom. Everybody's laughing at me.
No, we can't afford him, man. We can't afford him. We're going to get the cap money for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we couldn't afford Tom Brady an extra year either, but you somehow wiggle around that. But like you said, defer money. The capologist,
like Garoppolo would be a guy that you could bring in at maybe, $15 million, and you'd probably be able to fit him under the cap. You're going to have to get rid of some guys anyway. But, that's a guy that you could bring in and say somewhat competitive. It certainly opens up your offense to do a lot more things. You bring in somebody that's worked in that Shanahan offense like a Kubiak and a Garoppolo who's worked in that offense and okay, and we got Godwin and we got Evans, we got Jensen. All right, maybe, bring Shaq Barrett back. We're going to have to get rid of Donovan Smith and some other guys, but that's okay. We can draft some players to take their job. Yeah, and NFC South sucks. Yeah, you're staying competitive again, but I still think your rebuild is being kicked down the road, but that's fine. I don't have a problem with that either. But it's got to be, something that's workable and is a plan. This last season was just so dysfunctional, Dan. And you talk to Bowles every week, and did you ever get a sense that he was frustrated with Leftwich and wanted to fire him? And it was just, it just wasn't working. There was no continuity on the offense. I know what he said publicly, but you get to have those conversations before the cameras roll and all that stuff. Did you ever get a sense of that frustration?
Well, coming in on Mondays after big losses, we always try to keep it light before.
Right.
I can't tell you how many times we talked about trying to move the football 1 yard.
Yeah.
And 1 yard, practically fall forward.
Yeah.
That was back into him. Something that bothered him all year long. And you get to the weeks. They played the game in Germany, and things looked like they were ready to turn.
Yep.
And then they have the bye week, and it seemed like everything just regressed.
Yep.
After that, and they had to go through this cycle again to try and get it back going. I thought after that Seattle game, this might take off. It never did, and you kept waiting for it. And I think Todd Bowles was waiting for it to take off, and it never did. And I would have to imagine there were some very uncomfortable conversations in the quarterback room when Brady and Leftwich and Clyde Christensen and maybe Bowles enters the room to say, guys, what's going on here on a Wednesday?
Right.
That type of situation. I have to imagine there was probably some tense moments.
Yeah.
For sure. And that was frustrating for the coach who's trying. Here's a guy who's been handed another franchise, another chance.
Yep.
In a position that was supposed to be set up for him to have ultimate success and erase all this New York Jets memory.
Yep. And
it just went right back to the middle of the pack.
Yeah.
That's very frustrating for him as a head coach.
I bet it is. Great guy. I just don't think he's
super guy.
Yeah. I just don't think he's going to be a super successful NFL head coach. Hell of a defensive coordinator, but it's a tough job. Not many people can do it. And I'm not sure that he's the guy, but we'll see. I guess one more year. All right, Dano, appreciate your time as always. What you got going for Gasparilla? Anything fun? You working? What are you doing? You working the parade? You guys still do the parade?
Being around town, partake and enjoy the sights. Always enjoy the sights.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Sights are good.
And so just do the crazy. Got a lot of good stuff coming up this weekend on Super Sports Sunday. We hung out with our good buddy Brian Bradley.
Yes, love him.
The other night, the Stamkos. I called it Steven Stamkos night. I don't know if it was Stamkos night or not. But,
it turned into it. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, well, you honor the guy, so it's Stamkos night. Then he scores the game-winning goal. I just think it's a great Stamkos night. So, Bradley, I'd say Bradley has a very interesting, perspective on Stamkos's place in history. I mean, and so we're witnessing something that I don't think, other than Dave Andreychuk when he came here at the tail end of his career.
Yeah,
we're witnessing a guy that is writing history as he's writing franchise history. He's going to be the greatest Lightning player ever when it's said and done. And we're all witnessing it. I hope people realize what we're witnessing. Yep. And that's what Bradley's been pointing out. And when you look at just Google the all-time NHL goals and look at the names, obviously the big names at the top, but look at the names he's about to catch as he goes on here. And he's probably going to wind up somewhere around 600. And just look at all those names.
Yeah.
This is a guy that we're witnessing that's just incredible, almost once in a lifetime. Enjoy it. And that's what Bradley talked about. Enjoy this.
All right, cool. We'll be tuning in Sunday night. Sunday Sport. What do you call it now? It's not Sunday Sports Extra anymore.
I think it's called Super Sports Sunday. We call it Triple S.
Triple S.
Triple S.
Triple S. Super Sports Sunday.
Triple S. Yeah, exactly.
Good stuff, man. We'll be watching. Thanks, partner. Appreciate your time.
Be good.
Stay safe out there in the Gasparilla. Stay safe. It's going to be a bizarre offseason. I just want to get it going. Like, which direction are we headed? I would like to know that more than anything. And if we don't find out till free agency starts where Tom Brady's going, the Bucs are going to be behind the eight ball, and they've got to decide what direction they want to go soon.
I still think the ball is in their court first. To get an offensive coordinator in here, get a staff in here so that Brady can evaluate that option. And, as we've spoken with Scott a lot of times, and we've said, clearly Brady's going to have some communication, you'd think, with the discussions of who they may want to bring in from the staff standpoint.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I did some deeper diving on this Clint Kubiak, who I think of the three candidates so far, I don't think these are going to be only three guys to interview, but he was the first one that they decided to complete an interview with. And as Greg Allman pointed out here, there's a connection to Mike Evans on this staff with Clint Kubiak.
How so?
He spent 2 years at Texas A&M as an offensive assistant when Mike Evans was there.
Interesting.
So theoretically, you'd think he knows Mike Evans, worked with Mike Evans before. So maybe Mike would be somebody that would vouch for him.
Right.
You'd like to think. You mentioned the whole Shanahan thing. I mean, his dad was Gary Kubiak,
right?
Who's one of the better offensive minds the game has seen in the last 20 years.
Agreed. 2
Super Bowls with John Elway, and now he started his own coaching tree.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And then Denver's offense last year, everybody's looking like, oh, well, I saw Denver play 15,000 primetime games, and they were awful.
It was awful.
Okay, well, Clint Kubiak was the quarterback coach, number one. The last 4 games of the season, he got play calling duties.
Nathaniel Hackett was running.
Yeah, Nathaniel Hackett was running that offense.
And not very well. It was completely in over his head. Was hired to bring in Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
They never got him. So it was a complete disaster.
It was a disaster. But the first, 13 games of the season, Hackett was there. They averaged 14 points a game. Okay, that's horrendous.
It's awful.
Last 4 games of Clint Kubiak calling plays, they averaged 24 a game.
That's a big deal.
And Russell Wilson kind of looked a little bit closer to himself, to the point where now everybody's looking at Denver and thinking, oh, well, Russ may have something there. But I don't know. I think there's a correlation. So I think Clint Kubiak, of the 3 options, because I think Keenan Mark-Cardell just seems like a big risk.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't called plays. Yet. Love him. He caught 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl, which we talked about.
That's fantastic.
Jim Bob Cooter, to me, seems like a fallback option more than anything. I don't think I know he worked with Trevor Lawrence, and I know that's going to, put him up here a little bit, but he oversaw Detroit's offense from 16 to 18, and I think those were 3 years that Matthew Stafford wasn't fantastic,
right?
And it kind of looked like it got stale there. So I think he's a fallback option more than anything, but I think this Clint Kubiak's intriguing.
I do too. Of the candidates I've seen, he's the one. And would that offense be something that Tom Brady would be able to work in? Look, if you get Tom Brady, just like everybody said, the Arians offense wouldn't work with Tom Brady. you morph an offense into doing what he does best, and you try to, put it all together. Like we said many, many times, and we're going to take a break here. And Sean King had said some very blistering things about Tom Brady and what he's got left. So we'll get to that when we come back. A lot of stuff that we've kind of said on this show as well, but I think, obviously coming from Sean, it takes great weight. So we'll do that when we come back. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and his team will get you right with testosterone replacement therapy. If you're looking into weight loss, they've got great programs for that. So go to BAMMC.com and make your appointment. You can make it outside of normal hours. They do that as well. And you can always listen to Chris Lugo at 11:45 each Monday as we talk about the injuries out there and general wellness. Always has some great information for you. Back in 3. Was your car totaled in an accident? Did your insurance company use Kelley Blue Book or NADA to appraise the value of your car? Chances are they didn't, and you got shorted maybe thousands of dollars. Call the Jeeves Law Group for a free case evaluation because your insurance company may still owe you money. 727-894-2929. It's a free call, so why not find out if you have a case? Insurance companies have been running this scam for a while, and most folks don't know if they've been shorted. Trust me. Scott Jeeves is a different kind of attorney, the kind insurance companies hate to go up against. He could recover thousands of dollars, so why not call? 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you.
JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations.
Well, it's that time of year to renew or shop your health insurance provider, and you can get great health insurance for $20, $30, $50 a month. Just call 888-325-0605 to help navigate the health insurance marketplace. 1 out of 3 people in Florida are uncovered because they think they can't afford it. Not true. I made the call a couple of years ago, and they helped me get Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage, Florida Blue, for just $20 a month. Last year, it went up to $49. Oh, well. It all depends on your income and your family situation. It's a free call, 888-325-0605. They will ask for some income information. So if you have your tax returns available, that will be great, but you don't need it. They'll just answer some simple questions, and the highly trained reps will do the work for you to find out what your subsidy will be. 888-325-0605. And if you have a plan through your employer, you may be able to get it cheaper. It's a free call, so find out, folks. This has been a lifesaver for me and saved me thousands of dollars over the last few years, and you can choose your plan. It's a no-brainer. Find out. Make the free call. 888-325-0605. Get covered like me and thousands of others. 888-325-0605. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship returns this March 16th to the 19th with 4 days of golf action plus a host of fun activities that make it Tampa Bay's hottest spring sports ticket. Sam Burns, who won in a thrilling playoff last year, is looking to make it 3 wins in a row on the Copperhead course at Innisbrook Resort. He will be challenged by a top field that includes Jordan Spieth returning for the first time in 5 years. The 2015 Valspar champ counts 13 PGA Tour victories, including 3 majors in his career. It will be a great field and great fun. Tickets are on sale now at ValsparChampionship.com for all tournament days, both grounds tickets and premium ticket options. You don't want to miss the 2023 Valspar Championship.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here, coming to you from the beautiful studios here at CP Communications in St. Petersburg. We've got a lot of good things happening in 2023 with our show. We'll soon be streaming on RHS TV, which is available on Roku and Amazon Prime. So we're taking it global, brother, on RHS TV. What do you think about that? What do you think about that?
Exciting times here for the JP
Exciting
Peterson Show in 2023. And maybe some other developments even after that.
There may be some developments after that. Soon, hopefully, to be on local radio. Ooh, what's going on there? By the way, I was in Orlando yesterday at the PGA Merchandise Show, which, by the way, is just one of the – if you're a golf person, you got to find a way to get over there and go through that. You, my friend, have a credential to go over. And if you don't take advantage of this on Friday – I showed you some video.
I know. I saw it yesterday. Friday's a better day for me.
Then it's insane. I got a nice putter there yesterday. I got a $500 putter from.
Oh, well, go ahead and flex it. Why don't
you? I will. But will it help me putt? I don't know, but we'll see. It's so cool. If you're into golf, man, it is unbelievable. Every maker is there, like so many that I didn't even know about. They've got driving ranges set up in the convention center. You can hit the clubs. And then from golf carts to apparel to golf, anything to do with golf, it's there. And you just talk to all the people. It's so cool. Really fun stuff. But you should definitely go over there. No question about it. All right. So I want to get to this. This was, from our good friends over at Joe Bucs Fan. They did a story. I guess Sean King, our former quarterback, whose name is being bantied about because he was the last rookie quarterback to make it to the championship game, as Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, is making here. You believe that? Mr. Irrelevant win the Super Bowl? Is that even possible? The NFL scriptwriters going overboard?
We might have to play that video later.
Yeah, we do. We should play that. Here's who was he talking to? What was this interview?
It's like comrade.bet or something.
Okay. We got
concept.bet.
I'll get Sean on the show. I'll just get him on tomorrow to talk about this. He said, this group's Super Bowl window, in my opinion, has closed. I would start evaluating what pieces do we have where we can get the most back. I would start stripping this roster down of some of my higher price guys that I think still have value, and I would start my rebuild now. I said, let's be honest, man. Why does everybody beat around the bush? Tom Brady is the most accomplished quarterback at the professional level we've ever seen. Nobody in modern football is getting to 10 Super Bowls. They're definitely not winning 7. In spite of that, you should still just be honest about what he is now. He is a shell of himself, especially when he's encountered with pressure. It happens, man. You get old, you step off the sidewalk, and you feel like you jumped off a 10-story building. Amen, brother. It happens to everybody. It's just part of getting old. Yeah, in spurts, he can still make some throws. And yeah, every second or third game, he can have a fourth quarter that makes you remember how great he is. But from start to finish, he's not the same player. Age is undefeated. If you watch Tom Brady play, when he is under pressure and duress, he is completely out of whack. That's just the reality of it. It's not a criticism. The truth doesn't have emotions. It's just the truth. And I completely agree with that. I've said it all year long. He's just not the guy that he used to be. I think his arm was a little compromised this year. I think Gronk kind of let that cat out of the bag on Fox this past week, touching his shoulder, said maybe, he was working with some things. His finger was also an issue. I think it affected his accuracy, but just more than anything, he can't move. He just can't move. And he can't move within the pocket. He can't step up in the pocket with this offensive line. It's just, and in this game, and Marcus Spears said it, you're gonna get hit, and he is so cognizant of getting hit that he falls back. That's why that interception in the end zone happened, because he didn't get enough on it because he was afraid he was going to get hit, and he shied away from it and just threw it up. There were a couple of times he needed to step into throws in that game against the Cowboys, and he's falling off his back foot, and he's inaccurate. And you just can't play quarterback in the NFL like that. And listen, have I said if we can have him back, would I do it again? Yeah, because it's Tom Brady. And he'll give you a chance to make it to the playoffs in this terrible division. You'll still be relevant. You'll still get all the big games. Who knows? Maybe his arm gets better and you can put an elite offensive line in front of him and get all those guys back and get it close to what it was in 2020. Get a different coordinator in here to get the run game going. That will help him tremendously. Yes, all those things can happen. And if Brady would come back, I would do that. But he has to tell me now. We got to start working on that plan now. And Brady's not doing that. He's going to take his time. At least, he's not certainly working in conjunction with the Buccaneers. Like I said yesterday, he didn't stand at the podium after that loss and say, you know what, I'm coming back. I'm going to be here in Tampa Bay. I love this organization. He did say that. But I love these guys. We had a lot of stuff that went wrong this year, especially with me and the off the field stuff. I just wasn't the same guy from a preparation standpoint. I'll admit that. So we can be better and we can do better. And when I'm coming back, we're going to put this back together. He didn't say any of that. He could have said that, but he didn't say any of it.
What quarterback is going to say that, though?
Someone who wants to come back with this organization and run it back and do it.
I don't know how many. I don't know how many quarterbacks that are going to go and say that after a playoff loss, let alone the king of cliches.
Well, because he doesn't plan on doing it. That's why he's
I don't
not
know
doing
that.
it. That's
I don't
what I'm trying
know
to tell you.
I don't know that there's a translation to that.
Well, if I was going to run it back with this organization, that's what I would do. But of course, I would also say that, because if you're Tom Brady, you can get whatever you want. It's not like he needs to leverage this to get what he wants. In other words, I'm not telling you when I'm coming back. Let me see what you do, and then I'll, go, bowl me over with what you're going to do. And then, no, you would want to work in conjunction with the organization to get the right OC, to get the right things back together from the jump. You wouldn't want to wait. That's not going to make your team better. That's just another thing that tells me he's not coming back to Tampa Bay. And if he's not, as an organization, you got to get started yesterday on this rebuild and what your next move is going to be. So, and I think what Sean said is spot on, to be quite honest with it. And I don't think it's blasphemy to say it. He's the greatest to ever do it. But, time catches up with you. The game catches up with you. And everybody knows how to play Tom Brady now. If it's not perfect, it's going to be hard. That being said, we'll get James Petralka's thoughts on this. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. James Petralka, Fox Sports, will join us. And he had some Niners games this year, had some Eagles games this year with his role with Fox Sports. So we'll get his take on the NFC Championship game and the AFC Championship game when we come back. Stay with us.
JP here for Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance, because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right. Your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying by thousands. One customer had their golf buddy handling his business insurance, then called Italiano to shop it around, and they saved him $26,000 a year. Yeah. So call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Italiano Insurance, protecting all the pieces of your life for over 60 years.
The boys are back. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship returns March 16th to the 19th with 4 days of incredible golf plus a host of activities that make it Tampa Bay's hottest spring sports ticket. There is more to the Valspar than just great golf. It's the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Snake Pit Club, accessible by premium tickets, and other great venues throughout the course for those with ground tickets. And new in 2023 is the Rooftop, a new prestigious venue at the 18th green with music, food, and fun. Plus, you never know who you're going to see at the Rooftop. Tickets are on sale now at ValsparChampionship.com for all tournament days, both grounds tickets and premium ticket options. You don't want to miss the 2023 Valspar Championship.
Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida. Hey, folks, it's still engagement season, and where better to get that special ring than the Gold and Diamond Source. The Gold and Diamond Source has the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a literal jewelry supercenter with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. You don't have to wait to spend any extra time waiting for them to bring something in. They have everything right there in-house, so why go anywhere else? And you can get up to 15% off this January if you buy something with the birthstone, which is garnet. Garnet and gold, Florida State, get something for your favorite Seminole. And let's not forget the Emily collection from Emily Johnson Weintraub. Very affordable, real gold and diamond jewelry, always stylish and unique. Emily has created this fashion-forward gold, diamond, and gemstone jewelry line ideal for everyday wear. Each piece is designed to enhance your look by featuring eye-catching, modern geometrical shapes. Really unique stuff. Got to check it out. And, of course, Julie and Steve Weintraub, great benefactors here in the local community. So let's keep it local. And you can get 0% financing for up to 5 years. Get a big ring for a little price. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Ladies and gentlemen,
let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Valspar Championship, which is coming up March 16th through the 19th. Get your tickets at valsparchampionship.com. All the premium tickets will likely sell out, so that rooftop area we just mentioned, got to check that out. The Hooters Owl's Nest, the Snake Pit, all those premium tickets, I believe, sold out last year. So do not wait if you want to get the good stuff. valsparchampionship.com. That rooftop's going to be cool, too. So looking forward to that. And we'll be out there tournament week and be bringing you guests on as we get closer. And we will bring on our good friend James Petralka, who I always see out there at the Valspar Championship with Fox Sports. What's up, James? How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. You excited for championship weekend?
I am. Yeah. Just one thing I want to bring up quickly is you mentioned that Chiefs-Dolphins game. That's one of your earliest football memories. That's probably the first football game that I remember too.
Yeah, that was the longest game in history.
Yeah.
And Garo Yepremian from 42 yards, I believe.
It was Christmas Day, right?
It was Christmas Day. I believe that was the Hank Stram led. Was it Lenny Dawson? I think still the quarterback.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Against Greasy and the soon to be 17-0 in the next couple of years. Miami Dolphins. Yeah. Yeah, good times. I think that was John Shula's second year or first year there? His second year there, I think he got
second. I think, yeah.
Hell of a coach. We remember it well. Do you remember the 2002 Super Bowl 20 years ago today?
We
were in,
yes,
San Diego watching the Bucs beat the hell out of the Oakland Raiders.
Yep. Yeah, remember that well. Yeah, the Raiders. I didn't think going into the game. I didn't think they had any chance, much of a chance. I think that was the Bucs. That was their year. Everything just lined up for them. I did think they were going to have a hard time in Philly. I didn't think they were going to beat the Eagles that year. But once they got through that game, it was over. I mean, the Super Bowl. I don't think the Raiders had any chance in that game.
Yeah, we're gonna after we're done with you in our next segment, we're gonna play a post game interview I did with Rondé Barber as he was holding the football that he took down the field that day and closed down the vet. Yeah, we had to wait till they cleared out the vet to do the interview on the field because that's where we normally do it because those fans. Yeah, we would not want.
The Bucs played a preseason game in Philly a few years ago, and I asked Rondé. I said, "Is it safe to walk around town with you? Or do I need to keep a distance from you?"
Yeah, he is persona non grata in that town for sure. Absolutely. All right, so let's dig in on these. You had the 49ers this year. At what point did you have them? Did you have the Brock Purdy 49ers?
We did. We had them. It was actually the last game of the season
cool.
in San Francisco, and they were. The Eagles and the Niners were the two best teams that I saw. I didn't see a lot of the AFC, the top teams in the AFC, but yeah, I just thought. And Purdy, like I think I mentioned, he was very impressed with him in our meetings. And in practice, he threw the ball better than I thought. He had some zip in practice. He had some zip on the ball, and very impressed with him. And just the overall team, the Niners, their defense, all three levels with Bosa and Warner in the secondary, and with Samuel, McCaffrey, Ayuk, Juszczyk. I mean, I was very impressed with them. And the Eagles, we had them earlier in the year. And same thing, very impressed with them. Loved meeting with Sirianni, was great. Their defense coordinator was great. You could just sense, it's interesting. Like Sirianni was one of the better coaches we met, in our meetings. Shanahan's always been one of the best guys, very honest, tells you things and just, you can just tell. And it's not a coincidence that those are the two teams that are left.
It was interesting when Sirianni first came in. He had some interesting metaphors of flowers and plant and all this stuff, and he caught a lot of crap for that. And I think that his first year, people were like, "Who is this guy?" And give us a little more sense of who he is, what he's about, just from a personal standpoint.
It's interesting because it's kind of funny. I was just telling my son the other day, we were watching the game, and I said, watching him on TV and from a distance, he kind of whines a lot. He's complaining, but just sitting down with him and just his personality and how he talks about building the team and how the different things and incorporating the family into the team and this all the different things and the players and his strategy. And he talked about his son loves Dallas Goedert's first down celebration. So he's like, hey, Dallas, what are you coming up with this week? And just things like that and how the building, the team, the family. He talked a lot about that, and you could just sense. Yeah. And Jalen, when we met with him, he talked about the same thing. And from a football standpoint, I love what he and Roseman did. They built the team from the offensive and defensive lines. And that's what football games, I've had so many coaches and players tell you this, football games are by and large are won at the line of scrimmage. And the teams that are that's what Andy Reid did. Same thing. That's his philosophy. Yep. And that's what they've done. And they just, and then you get the skill guys around them and everything flows from that.
Yeah, there's a lot of window dressing, and the skill guys get all the accolades. But absolutely, it sounds cliche, but it's cliche because it's true, and you could definitely see that from the Eagles. That's why I think the Eagles. I like the Eagles in this game because of their pressure packages. I mean, they're historically the best pressure team. I think in the last 20 years, I think I saw a number, and I love Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy is a good quarterback. But, man, going on the road to Philadelphia in that environment and the pressure that he's going to be under, McCaffrey's got a bit of a calf injury. I saw last week just the duress that he was under Purdy, and not that he didn't make the big mistake, right? He didn't make the big mistake. But I just don't know if they're going to score more than 18, 19 points, and I think Philadelphia is going to score. I think Jalen Hurts' shoulder is fine. I think it's going to be close, but I like the Eagles in this one. How do you see it?
I mean, with my heart, I'm saying the Niners.
Right.
But with my head, I think it is on the road, like you say, Purdy. If the defense can hold the Eagles, which is a big if, obviously, for the Niners, and Purdy doesn't have to win the game for them, then I think the Niners have a chance. But if they give up points, like you said, I think I think they are going to show. Samuel's got a little bit of a knee, and if Purdy has to make a lot of plays for them. Right. I think that's going to be a big edge for the Eagles.
I would agree on that. And, remember when they hired John Lynch in San Francisco? Remember the uproar? Oh, he's never been a general manager before. He's never, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's just a former player. And I'm like, who better to be a general manager than some of these guys that played at a high level, Hall of Fame level, that have won championships, know what team building is all about from the inside out. obviously super intelligent. And I thought this guy's going to do a hell of a job. And just knowing him personally, the drive.
Right.
I don't think the Trey Lance thing was the greatest thing, but they still built this team even by giving up 3 first-round picks for a guy they don't even use. I still think, I don't know if that was a John. I don't know if he was on board with that anyway, but
I think that was more Kyle, but
he's done a hell of a job.
He has. And one thing that I don't think a lot of people knew publicly was that, we worked with John on the preseason broadcast, and he did a lot of scouting work for Elway with the Broncos over, when he was broadcasting, and because he was, and so he was, he didn't obviously have an official role with the team, but he was doing a lot of things, and obviously, his role in TV, but so he spent a lot of time with Elway with the Broncos and working with him and working with the team. So he didn't have the formal experience as being part of a team, but he did have more experience as part of a team scouting department than, basically that's what he was. Yeah.
Pretty high level intern right there.
Yeah.
Smart, because he was preparing himself for his next career. And I think if he ever wants to do it, our good friend Rondé Barber would be one hell of a general manager.
Agreed.
There may be a time may come where he wants to do it. And when is Shelton Quarles going to get his shot? I think
I don't know. That's a
hell of a general manager.
Yeah, I agree.
I really, really do.
Yeah.
I think he's done a great job.
Quick funny story. Lynch told us when they first got Peyton Manning, he said he was playing golf with Peyton one day, and they're talking about the team, and Peyton's like, I think maybe we could use a fullback here. See what I mean? He said, a couple days later he played golf with Elway, and he's like, hey John, Peyton was saying the other day, Tom, maybe we should bring in a fullback. And 2 days later, they signed 2, fullbacks.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he's. I think he's done a tremendous job there, and I think this is a little bit too much for them to bite off. I mean, Philadelphia just seems like a team of destiny. They're on a roll, and
especially on the road too. I think for the Niners, it's going to be a little bit tough there.
I would agree with that. All right, let's flip over to the AFC. What can you tell us about? Did you have the Bengals or Chiefs at all this year?
Not this year. We had the Bengals last year a couple times, and I was very impressed with them last year. Because we saw that. I remember the first preseason game they played Tampa, and Burrow was still out. He hadn't, he was practicing, but playing. We had heard, Burrow's coming off the knee. He's not throwing well, but there was just something about it. Watching them and being around, it's like, I didn't think they were going to be a Super Bowl team necessarily, but just kind of saying, you know what, they're not going to be the dumpster fire that everybody thinks they were, that they've been in the past. They're just, Zach Taylor I was very impressed with Zach as a coach and how he, built the team. And the other guy is the defensive coordinator, Lou Anarumo. Very impressed with him, what he's done. And I remember Daryl Johnston, we had them a couple times last year, and Daryl was, talking about him, and he really liked him, was really impressed with how, the schemes and how he was coaching, and just him, as a person and as a coach. And I'm a little surprised that he's not getting a little more run as a head coach, maybe because he's on the defensive side and the offensive, and but so very impressed with them. And the Chiefs, I mean, Andy Reid they just keep it going every year. Mahomes is probably the best player in the league, but the biggest thing is his health. How because we saw in the Super Bowl against the Bucs, when he wasn't completely healthy, the offensive line struggled. He struggled a lot, and with the Bengals, I think Anarumo's going to come up with some defenses, and the big thing is they got to take away Kelsey. I mean, I was shocked the other watching letting Kelsey just score, catch 10, 15 balls. Like, how do you?
I don't get that. It just and I think look at the tape from the Bucs Super Bowl, man. They were not going to let Kelsey beat him. And they obviously work out. And the offensive line, so much of Mahomes' game is moving. It's you can watch him week in and week out, and I watched him a lot this year. It's rare that he hits his back foot and the ball is out. He loves to just let the play develop a little bit, and then I'll find Kelsey, and those guys do a great job of getting open, and he lets the routes develop a little bit more. And he could throw off platform better than anybody, obviously. So that's his game. Now, trying to throw off platform on your plant foot, your right foot with a high ankle sprain, and move around in the pocket like he does. With Anarumo throwing all the different blitzes that are going to come at him, I just don't see how that works. And you're going against a Joe Burrow team that's going to put up, I know Kappa didn't practice and the tackle didn't practice either, but they think they might get them back this week. By the way, the backups guys did a hell of a job last week.
They did. Yeah.
Center is back. Will be playing. So I just think Burrow, I think they put up 27 points, and I don't know if the Chiefs can keep up.
I agree. Yeah, I see the game the same way. I agree. And Burrow is really there's something special about that guy. I mean, there's just something, and he's a little bit he's cocky, but kind of in a benign way. And in the games we had him and meeting with him, I mean, he doesn't come across offensively cocky.
Confident, not cocky.
Exactly.
Confident, not cocky.
Yeah.
His ball placement, his accuracy, being able to throw off platform. He's a better runner than people think. Leadership. I think he's as close to the next Brady as we have in the league right now.
Yeah,
I really do. And I think his game has longevity to it because it's not based as much on movement as it is just on incredible accuracy and anticipation, reading the field. He's just so good at everything. And I think he's going to be around for quite some time. And I think this might be I think we get Cincinnati and the Eagles in the Super Bowl. And that's going to be a tough call. So we shall see.
I think so.
Anything else you want to get here with James? Anything else you got, James? You always throw out a nugget at the end.
It's a little bit the coaching search is, with Sean Payton, it's kind of looking more like I think he's going back to Fox. I don't think he's going to coach this year. And I kind of thought that going into as the process started. He made some comments the last week of the season on the Fox pregame show. They asked him about it, and he was very kind of tap dancing a lot. But I just kind of thought that he was going to stay at Fox. I don't think the right job that he wanted was there, because I do know from talking to people that know him, and the job he really wanted was the Chargers. Because he's got a place in LA since working with Fox, and he likes living out there. He likes Herbert, and for a while it looked like that job could be open.
How do they stay with Staley? How do they stay with him if Sean Payton's an option? I'll tell you what.
But I also think one of the things with the Chargers, though, the organization, I don't think that they were going to pay Payton 15 or 20 million a year.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say. So, do the Spanos still own it?
They do. Yeah.
Oh well, then yeah.
Yeah, you're right. So I think that was probably it. And so there was. Now I did hear, and
but
I know
how stupid do you have to be? Do you know what winning a Super Bowl brings to your organization? Like I've seen, estimates by these financial people that do these type of things, that winning a Super Bowl is worth $150 to $200 million in future revenue. Okay. So what is $25 million? What are you doing? And I know it's not guaranteed, but you're the Chargers. You have no identity in LA whatsoever. Right. You got no identity, but the only way you're going to get identity is to win. And you have a generational talent at quarterback, I believe, in Justin Herbert, and you have a dumpster fire of a head coach that is defensive minded and just doesn't know how to manage games. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah. I agree.
That's the
so that's
ownership story. That's the Spanos family right there.
Right. No, exactly. And they've been that way, for a long time. Yeah. So, but I think, and it's interesting. I guess the other, all the openings are waiting to see what Payton does. And then, because I had heard and I think you had mentioned this too about, Payton possibly even going back to New Orleans.
Yeah.
That was, and some people that know him, had mentioned that and possibly Brady going there with him.
Right.
But and I don't know. That seems to have kind of died down now. But I wouldn't be shocked if that happens.
Yeah, I think. But I don't think. Why? I'm going to say, why would he leave New Orleans and then go back to it? I just think he was burnt out. He was burnt out, and I didn't think he wanted to go through the quarterback thing. Like he knows that finding a quarterback and developing a quarterback, having a Drew Brees is a once in a lifetime opportunity because that cat was just wired differently.
Yeah.
And he needs a situation where he's going to have a quarterback that he likes and can work with. I think if the Dallas situation had opened up, I think that would have been something, but it seems like that's not going to happen with the success that Dallas had. It'd be hard to find McCarthy in that situation. But
and I had heard too, Sean, he's good friends with Jerry Jones, and I think that he knows Jones well enough to know that he might not necessarily want to work for him.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that makes sense too.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, and he, and I think he knew that Jameis wasn't the guy in New Orleans. And so I think he would just, take a step away, and we'll see. Maybe he, gets like Bill Cowher, gets into TV and stays there. Who knows? But
a quick question for you: did you have any chance to interact with Clint Kubiak in Denver? He's obviously
a little bit. Yeah, he took over. Yeah, and in Minnesota too when he was there, because he was calling. He took over the play. He was calling when Zimmer was there.
Yeah.
He's an impressive guy. He obviously close with his dad, runs that kind of Shanahan kind of style offense. I don't, not a dynamic guy necessarily, but very, very solid and very, I think he'd be a good choice.
Smart guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll see if he may be the leader in the clubhouse for the OC job. We shall see.
On a personal level, I'd love to see Keenan. I know he's never called plays before, but a great guy, great Buccaneer. Talking about that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And Keenan's just a great guy, great person. So it wouldn't be, I don't know. Again, he's never called plays, but he's been coaching for a long time.
First time for everything. Super smart guy. Great receivers coach, by the way.
Yeah.
Really, and that guy, you would know he'd be a great receivers coach. He ran some of the greatest routes in the history of in the Super Bowl. We've had Brad Johnson. He comes on and he calls the play again. That play right before half, where McCardell was lined up with the Raiders' best corner. Was it Woodson? I think it was Woodson.
Yeah, Woodson. Yeah.
Yeah, and he took him to the woodshed on that comeback route to the corner. That little comeback route on the outside. Brad threw a great ball out there. And think about that. You're up in I think you're up 14 in the game right before halftime. I think it's 14-3, and you're going to go to the outside with Woodson out there who could pick six that sucker.
Right. Yeah.
What this is nobody
confidence. Yeah.
That's a great, because we know you can run that route, and Brad's just so accurate, and that was a big play in that game. And McCardell had 2 touchdowns in that game. He was a big part of that Super Bowl team.
He was
third downs, touchdowns. I think he even caught one in Philly too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he did. Yeah.
Yeah, great player, and has gotten. I know Rondé's talked to him before as a coach. He was coaching at Maryland, and he's a really good mind, and I think he would be a good choice, especially in this. If it might be more of a rebuild year, and you're looking for that next up and coming coordinator.
Yeah,
first time for everything. You got to call plays for the first time, right?
Right.
Super guy. All right, James. Good stuff as always, my friend.
All right, thank you. Right. Yep, thanks. Take care.
Rock of Fox Sports. All right, we'll take another break, and when we come back, we're going to go into the old vault and give you some audio from 20 years ago on the day we shut down the Vet. And I got to talk with Rondé Barber right after that game. We did a little bit of an extended interview. Wait till you hear our voices. I think it's a little bit because of the tape, but it's kind of funny. So we'll do that. We'll play some other stuff from the Super Bowl as well and get into a couple other tidbits when we come back to finish this one up. Stay with us.
To make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
Well, it's that time of year to renew or shop your health insurance provider, and you can get great health insurance for $20, $30, $50 a month. Just call 888-325-0605 to help navigate the health insurance marketplace. 1 out of 3 people in Florida are uncovered because they think they can't afford it. Not true. I made the call a couple of years ago, and they helped me get Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage, Florida Blue, for just $20 a month. Last year, it went up to $49. Oh, well. It all depends on your income and your family situation. It's a free call, 888-325-0605. They will ask for some income information. So if you have your tax returns available, that will be great, but you don't need it. They'll just answer some simple questions, and the highly trained reps will do the work for you to find out what your subsidy will be. 888-325-0605. And if you have a plan through your employer, you may be able to get it cheaper. It's a free call, so find out, folks. This has been a lifesaver for me and saved me thousands of dollars over the last few years, and you can choose your plan. It's a no-brainer. Find out. Make the free call. 888-325-0605. Get covered like me and thousands of others. 888-325-0605.
Hey guys, it's a new year, so are you looking for a new you to lose weight, lean up? There are many diets and chiropractors and weight loss clinics out there, but you know where to start? Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, PA, and his professional staff will devise a personal plan for you that gets results and help you keep the weight off. Everybody metabolizes food and supplements differently, and many of these other approaches are designed for the masses, the quick weight loss, but it doesn't stay off, right? Chris will spend one-on-one time with you to find out what works best for you, so the weight comes off safely without use of drugs that only work temporarily. So call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. And Chris will join us each Monday at 11:45 to talk about your wellness and the significant injuries to athletes in the sports world. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
The PGA Tour is back. The Valspar Championship returns to Innisbrook March 16th to the 19th with 4 days of great golf action and a host of fun activities that make it Tampa Bay's hottest spring sports ticket. Every tournament day offers something different. On Friday, we'll celebrate St. Patrick's Day with the wearing of the green. Saturday means Valspar Live, where tournament patrons will be able to enjoy country music superstar Darius Rucker with a free 90-minute show after the conclusion of play. And on Sunday, we're going to crown a champion. You don't want to miss it. Everybody will be there. Tickets on sale now at ValsparChampionship.com for all tournament days, both grounds and premium ticket options. You don't want to miss it. The 2023 Valspar Championship.
Hey guys, it's a new year, so are you looking for a new you to lose weight, lean up? There are many diets and chiropractors and weight loss clinics out there, but you know where to start? Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, PA, and his professional staff will devise a personal plan for you that gets results and help you keep the weight off. Everybody metabolizes food and supplements differently, and many of these other approaches are designed for the masses, the quick weight loss, but it doesn't stay off, right? Chris will spend one-on-one time with you to find out what works best for you, so the weight comes off safely without use of drugs that only work temporarily. So call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. And Chris will join us each Monday at 11:45 to talk about your wellness and the significant injuries to athletes in the sports world. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Pure Sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Italiano Insurance. Do your insurance checkup. 813-877-7799. They'll shop dozens of companies to save you money on your home insurance, your auto insurance, your business insurance. If you don't have business insurance, folks, you're risking your personal fortune. So do that, 813-877-7799. And the Valspar Championship coming up March 16th through the 19th. They got a lot of cool premium seating places to catch up and watch some golf, enjoy some music. The rooftop is going to be one of those new ones. So go check that out at ValsparChampionship.com. Get some of those premium tickets because they will sell out. The Hooters Owl's Nest always sells out, the Snake Pit. So it's going to be a hell of a tournament. Jordan Spieth's going to be there, and it's going to be a fun social event. Weather's always great. And Darius Rucker on Saturday night. You going to go to that? I got a lightning game.
It depends. Like I said, the honeymoon is that week. So
oh, well then
we're undecided. I don't know yet. Casey mentioned we might be back though.
Yeah.
At some point on Saturday. So
yeah, well, we'll hold a couple tickets for that for you, for Darius Rucker. That's going to be fun. That comes with your Saturday ticket to the Valspar Championship. All right, 20th anniversary of the Bucs Super Bowl season, which is interesting. Joe Buck fan also wrote an article about this, about the team really didn't do much to mark the 20th anniversary of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I have not. I don't think I've seen a tweet yet or anything about this so far.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Their media department's always.
Wait, no, actually, no. I take it back. I did see something. Yeah, they posted this was an hour ago. Where were you 20 years ago today?
Mm-hmm.
And then they did this, which I need to watch this. It's like a 7-minute breakdown of Rondé breaking down the biggest plays of the game.
Of the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Oh, dadgum, yeah.
So there you go. They did post that. But when we started the show, they had not posted anything.
No, cool. Yeah. Oh, that's going to be fun. I will definitely watch that. They do a great job over there at the Bucs website, especially with that video they put out yesterday. Curious to say the least. All right, so this is my good friend Dave Cook was our producer at WFLA for many, many years back in the heyday. And back then, Rondé would come on every Sunday with me on Sunday Sports Extra. If it was a home game, he'd come into the studio. If it was an away game, we'd do an on-field interview one-on-one for like 5 minutes after the game. So this was at the Vet 20 years ago last week. And he's got the football in his hand. He still has today, sitting on his mantle, that he carried down the Vet, that horrible carpet at the Vet, and it's one of the most eerie sounds I've ever heard of just the air going out of that place. They were and the Eagles were about to cut it to one score late in the game. Of course, the Bucs had dominated most of the game, but they of course everybody makes a run, and then Rondé made a run of his own into Buccaneers immortality and punched our ticket to the Super Bowl. So this is our look back in the archives 20 years ago with Rondé Barber.
And we're joined by the co-host of Sunday Sports Extra, Rondé Barber. What you got there, Rondé?
This is the game sealer, NFC Championship, be proudly displayed in my home this year.
And who was the last person to score a touchdown in Veterans Stadium?
I don't mean to be facetious, but it was
Rondé Barber. What does it feel like, man?
It's a great feeling right now. You know, it's listening to the prognosticators, everybody saying that we couldn't. Well, I don't think there was anybody on TV this week that gave us a chance.
Me?
Well, besides you, that publicly gave us a chance to win this football game. And come in here, shut this stadium down in the fashion we did it is pretty rewarding.
Talk about the last play. It looked like you were going to blitz. You came out of it, jumped the route, take me through it.
That's exactly what it was, man. We've been running a couple Boston's at me through the beat blitz, and it kind of showed that a little bit and threw it right to the teeth of cover two. It's a play that, I have to make. It was almost a gift, but I'll take them any way they come.
What were you thinking about when you intercepted that ball and you're running down the field?
You know what? I wasn't thinking about Simeon getting another penalty, believe me. After last week, it was sweet. It was sweet, man. It was sealing the deal. They went from going making it a 3-point game to down by 17. I don't know. I can't put it into words how rewarding it was to do that in this stadium and at that particular time. Shining on the big stage is pretty special.
Rondé, talk about your journey to the Super Bowl. Growing up in Roanoke and coming to the Bucs, a very rough first year.
Yeah.
And you, as Rich McKay just told me, you got better every single year, and you were the best corner in the league this year.
Yeah. It's good to hear him say that because I don't think a lot of other people will convey that same thought. But I work hard at what I do every day, as you know, as a lot of my teammates know as well. And it's a testament to show you should never give up. You should never give up on what you know you're good at doing. And I knew I was going to be good at what I was doing. Put in the blood, sweat, and tears, as they say. And made myself what I am today.
Talk about the total defensive game plan that Monty Kiffin put in. You guys were disguising coverages, blitzing late, blitzing early, blitzing at odd times. You seem to have them off balance.
We definitely did. This was, just like last week, it was one of the best defensive game plans we put together. And we went into this week knowing that we were going to dominate. We knew we were the better team. We looked at it on film from the time before, and we knew we were better. And it was just a matter of us going out and executing our A game. And that's exactly what we did. And it was a big time dominating performance by us.
How satisfying to come back to this place, your house of horrors, and put it in their face.
Yeah, absolutely. There's fans, particularly right over this end zone right here, that I've had plenty of jarring matches with leaving as a loser. And Dwight Smith probably told me put it the best way I could say. He said, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired." We're not sick and tired anymore. We're pretty happy right now.
All right, talk about this week. You're going to San Diego. How do you say this is not it? We've got one more game.
Yeah. You know what? Coming into this game, and my big theme to my defensive backs was this is just a game. This isn't the end all. You put this NFC Championship up on a pedestal because it's a huge game, this isn't the end. This is just the beginning, man. We're on a quest, and it doesn't end in Philly when we win. It ends in San Diego when we win, and that's what we're going for right now. That's what we're shooting for.
I know you haven't been here since '76, but there are a lot of long-suffering fans out there that are saying, "Thank you, Rondé Barber. You have delivered us to the promised land."
Hey, well, I'm glad you're my co-host and could put that out there for them. Thanks, JP.
All right, buddy. Congratulations, and we will see you in San Diego.
Absolutely.
Rondé.
And we did. And we went to San Diego. We flew directly, at least I did, some of the News Channel 8 team. We flew directly to San Diego and holed up there at the Torrey Pines Lodge when you get to stay there. But that's where our live truck was all week long, man. And we paraded so many big time guests through there for that Super Bowl, and we was doing interviews with Troy Aikman and Buck and every Emmitt Smith, every Hall of Famer coming through there. What a week that was, man! It was so fun as a broadcaster, and then to be standing on the sideline that night. We must have been on the air at News Channel 8 for probably 2 hours. And Brad Johnson came out afterwards and did an interview, did a one-on-one interview with us. I'm going to try to find some of that sound. I think Dave Cook has that as well. We'll bring some of that to you tomorrow. But that was one hell of a night, man. That was one probably as a broadcaster, I think my favorite broadcast, because that was the night where you're kind of just bringing all of the experience and covering the team, and just don't know who you're going to get next. Mike Allstott, Roman Oben. So many guys came over and we did these live on field interviews. It was what an opportunity. So fun to do that. Actually, I had dinner last night with Reggie Roberts, who was a PR director during that time and old friend. And we were recalling some of those days. It was, cause that was, the Bucs kept knocking on the door and fired Tony Dungy in the middle of the night in the rain. Bring in John Gruden, who certainly gave a lift to this team, energized the team, fixed the offense, and they went out and got it done.
Yep, and I'm hoping we're hoping that this current variation of the Bucs, it's not over yet, right? Like that one that was the last kind of hurrah for that team.
Yeah,
was that Super Bowl? We're hoping.
Yeah, it's interesting how that went down the tubes.
I was just bringing it up here because Jeff Darlington's very dialed in, right, on Tom Brady. Bucs Basement here just had put it out here that he said something about Brady coming back to be part of the solution. So I went on Jeff Darlington's Twitter. I got to watch this video, but I guess in this video that Jeff Darlington, he put this little piece on Brady. He says something like about being likely to return to Tampa Bay to quote unquote be part of the solution.
Oh, and he's mic'd up?
No, this is what Jeff Darlington is saying.
Okay.
So I gotta read through get through the whole video, obviously, but a lot of people are saying or putting here in Bucs Basement, just put it here in our comments as well. So
we'll check that out.
Interesting. We got to check that out though, because he's very dialed in.
As I've said many times, I still think when he looks around, this will be the best situation. But I'm also looking for clues that he's coming back, and all I see are clues that he's leaving, and that's what I want to start seeing things that he wants to come back here, and I haven't seen any. This would be the first one. I mean, you talk about Edelman saying that he's not coming back to Tampa Bay. Gronk saying he's watch for something new and exciting. Gronk saying he's coming back. The fact that there were moving vans at his home last week, and the neighbors believe that he has moved out. They haven't seen Tom Brady on Davis Island. I don't know that to be a fact, but I know that the neighbors. I've talked to 3 or 4 of them. I've talked to 4 neighbors. And one of them is a real estate agent who said the place where he was living is back on the market. So these are all signs that, the farewell, I won't call it a farewell, but his podium thank yous. Many of the players, according to Ian Rappaport, that he talked to, thinking that Brady's not coming back. These are all, little crumbs that are left that we think are telling me that he's not coming back. So good. I want to start seeing some things that tell me he is coming back. And hopefully this is a part of that. We shall see. Anything else we wanted to get to?
I did want to point out, because I felt it was right, because this is the 20th anniversary of the Bucs. It's also sadly the 3-year anniversary of Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gigi. The tragedy.
Heartbreaking.
It's hard to believe it's been 3 years. It seems like it's such a different world than it is now.
So needless too.
Yeah.
So needless, man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but there's not many days that like stop me in my tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And then
that was one of them.
I can remember like where I was, the feeling I had. That was one of them.
I was like, I remember looking out on Twitter going, is this real?
Yeah, there was like a good hour there. We just
we just didn't know. We saw the records and I was like, oh God.
Even today, like there's like random times throughout like my days where I'll start thinking about Kobe Bryant and I go, oh my gosh, he's not here anymore. Like it still doesn't feel real.
You know, you always want to know like why? It's like, why the hell would they take off in that kind of weather with a helicopter that wasn't equipped to fly in that kind of weather? You know, and just he could have waited. He could have stayed above the clouds, wait for the marine layer to go down. There were so many things that pilot could have done that day that he did not do. And an experienced pilot, just weird. Like, why would he do that? Maybe, I don't know, he felt pressure to get there on time or whatever. It's just, man, so needless and a tragic day. But we'll remember this day of 20 years ago as one of the greatest. And, you know, that the fans that ran out to Dale Mabry that night and the plane flying over the stadium. It's just what a cool experience. And then, you know, hopefully it looks dark now. There's no question about it for the Buccaneers organization. There may be a rebuild coming, but you never know. You never know. These NFL scriptwriters are pretty damn good. Mr. Irrelevant might be winning the Super Bowl. Who'd have thunk that? Who'd have thunk that? All right, our thanks to Dan Lucas, who joined us today, and James Petralka. We'll be back tomorrow to look ahead to the AFC and NFC championship games and talk about a Bolts win over Boston tonight. Let's hopefully see that come to fruition. I'll see you at Amalie Arena tonight. Go Bolts.